If I asked you to name a phone with a giant screen, barely there bezels, IP68 water resistance, and an awesome camera, you'd probably think I was talking about the Galaxy S8. As usual, Samsung's latest flagship is getting all the attention, but it's not the only phone that fits that description. So before you run out to buy a new Galaxy, you might want to check out the LG G6 first. If it wasn't for the Galaxy S8, the LG G6 would be the smartphone of the moment. Its 5.7-inch screen takes up nearly the entire front of the device, and while it doesn't have the S8's wraparound edges, it's incredibly comfortable to hold. Honestly, it feels more like a 5-inch phone than a 5.7-inch one, and it's as easy to operate with one hand as the Pixel. And it looks good too. It doesn't have the sexy curves of the S8, but its industrial design is a beautiful mix of glass and metal. Hardcore LG fans will lament the loss of a removable battery, but the trade-off will be well worth it for most users. LG actually beat Samsung in changing the screen's aspect ratio, offering an 18:9 display rather than a 16:9 one. That means you can divide it into two perfect squares, and LG has taken advantage of this all over its UX6 interface. Things like multi-window and landscape mode are far more pleasant to use, but nowhere are the benefits more evident than when using the camera. The G6's dual-camera wide-angle shooter is already awesome, but the redesigned app takes it to the next level, with several new shooting modes that embrace its square motif. You can instantly view the last picture you shot next to the viewfinder, or take photos with the front and rear camera simultaneously, or simply keep a scrollable photo gallery at the top of the screen. I wouldn't have believed that such a small tweak to the screen size would make such a difference, but LG's new camera app is the best I've ever used, and the pictures I took with it were pretty darn good too. But the G6 isn't quite perfect. LG has stubbornly stuck to keeping the power button tied to the rear fingerprint sensor, so I use tap to wake way more than I usually do. And while I'm happy to see a headphone jack, I wish it was on the bottom rather than the top. Also, I didn't love the rounded corners of the display, which aren't quite as smooth as the ones on the S8. And the G6 has a Snapdragon 821 chip, which is a perfectly capable processor, but isn't as fast as the 835 in the Samsung phone. All in all, the G6 is a fantastic phone that might have arrived at the wrong time. 6 months ago, it would have been in a class all by itself, but now it has the S8 to contend with, which just so happens to be one of the most incredible phones ever made. But the G6 does beat the S8 in one area. It's cheaper. At $650, it's about $100 less than Samsung's flagship. So when you're at the store to get the S8, stop and spend some time with the G6 first. It just might change your perspective.